The Panthers are doing their absolute best to play both sides of the fence on what I thought was a nearly impossible situation. I said it probably a month ago now. Actually, no, probably three. They had the bye week in there, and it was a little bit more recent than that. But I said the ideal for the Panthers is to be in close games, have Bryce Young play well, and lose those close games despite building momentum, because then you keep building your draft pick, you keep building the momentum of your young guys playing well, you get the best of both worlds. The Panthers are having their cake and eating it too. They are having their success and raising their draft capital too. They're doing both. The last 2 weeks have been perfect. The last 2 weeks, this is what's happened for the offense and Bryce Young. They've walked off the field either tied or with the lead with less than 2 minutes to go in the game. They've lost both games. Now, I'm not saying you know, as a competitor, you're excited about a loss. Everyone in that locker room should be as bummed and as disappointed in those losses as possible. But us on the outside, we can look at it and go, well, don't mind if I do take this top 5 pick right here and see if it can improve a little bit. And still get excited about the touchdown pass from Bryce Young to Adam Thielen that gave him the lead late in the game. Bryce Young, after the game, talked about players taking ownership of the loss.
Just finding ways to finish. Throughout the game, there's just missed opportunities, and it comes back. All of us as a team having to own it. It's not. It's easy from the outside. You could look at one play or one. That's not our how we look at it. We all have to look in the mirror, see what it is. We know we're there, but that's, there aren't any moral victories. There aren't any. It's a win or a loss, and we didn't get it done. So I think we all just, we all have that bitter feeling, and we got to get back to it tomorrow and learn from it.
That's what you should be saying. Oh, we got to learn. We got to take ownership. We're going to get better. You got to, but from my perspective, that's about perfect. From my perspective, that game was about perfect. And I hear what you may be saying, like, wait a second. You didn't have as many first downs as the Bucs. You obviously scored less points than the Bucs. You had less yards than the Bucs. You had there's so many things. You did win the turnover battle, but there's so many things that you didn't do as well as the Bucs.
Yeah, like them rushing for 236 yards.
That's one of them. That is 100% one of them. But it's not just the raw stats. Sometimes it's who's making the plays. When I watch the Panthers, and I've talked about this young player takeover, when I see the young guys making the best plays for the Panthers, I get excited about the future. Even if Adam Thielen is forced into action and he's making one-handed crazy catches and he's making touchdown catches that for some reason they say aren't touchdown catches, and then he makes real touchdown catches that he does get credit for later in the game. He's kind of forced into action because Jalen Coker and Jadeveon Sanders, wide receiver and rookie wide receiver and rookie tight end, are still out with injuries. So I'm fine with him playing his role. Xavier Legette didn't have his best day but got 8 targets. That's good enough for me. Learn from those. I like it. We got our first glimpse of Jonathon Brooks. 3 catches, 23 yards, had a long of 18. Guy's got some open field ability. The 9-yard rush was pretty nice too. A little bit of burst, especially for a guy coming off an injury. Like to see that. But the best part is the young player takeover is spreading to the defense. Shaw Smith-Wade, interception. Crucial one too. Right, I listed all the stats that Tampa was better than for the Panthers, but yet they made it to overtime. Why? Because the Panthers won the turnover battle. One of those came from Shaw Smith-Wade, and one of them came in over. Never mind. Trevin Wallace, another rookie, 3rd-round pick, linebacker, massively important sack in overtime that, quite frankly, should have won the game. I'm not blaming Chuba Hubbard. I thought it was weird that they didn't keep him more involved throughout the game and then asking him to, kind of ice the game while cold in overtime. It is his fault, right? We've all seen Remember the Titans. That had nothing to do with you fumbling my football. But weird situation there. Not blaming him for the entire loss, but the Wallace sack should have won the game.
You would have thought.
Amari Barno got a sack.
Yeah.
I'm counting him as a young player, even though he's been around for a little bit, because he's still young and hasn't played a ton outside of special teams.
Just in his third year.
There is a young player takeover happening. If you can point to a loss and say, hey, all the young players or most of the young players either thrived or learned, and some of the maybe veteran players were for less than the reason why they weren't able to win, I'll take that every single time. Dave Canales, after the game, talked about his message to the team after the loss.
It was just the same message I gave to all of you. It's the things that we control, the things that were well within our control in terms of just getting down there to, in field goal range, coming away with points there, taking care of the ball at the end right there, because that's on us, So that's the point to, drive it home to the team. It was the same message that I just gave to all of you.
Coach speak. We're always going to get it. Do you know what this team is learning? How to play in close games. And we're seeing the importance of that all across sports. Look what the Chiefs are doing. They can play awful, but they know how to play in close games, so more often than not, they're coming away with the win at the end. Look at Duke football.
Yeah.
They're not blowing teams out. They have a 9-win season, potentially the second 10-win season in program history if they win a bowl game, largely because they found a way to win some of those tight games. The Panthers, over the last 4 games, 2 wins, 2 losses, have been decided by a total of 4 points in regulation. That's absurd.
Yeah, because you had an overtime field goal win against the Giants, an overtime field goal loss.
So obviously in regulation, those were decided by 0.
Yeah, and then buzzer beater field goal against the Chiefs where you
1
lose and
win.
you win by 1 point against the Saints at home.
It was a 1-point win against the Saints, exactly, and then a 3-point loss against the Chiefs. They are getting so many reps in clutch situations where you just have to learn how to stay calm. You have to learn how to, the craziest part about Patrick Mahomes in all these close games, he has freaky athletic ability and he has that freaky connection thing with Kelsey where, he breaks left and for some reason the ball's there. That's not even what Andy Reid called. But I'm always baffled. And actually Baker Mayfield had some of this in the game-tying drive for the Bucs. Where it's like 30 seconds is on the clock, but they're operating as if they have 4 minutes because they know the timeouts and they know playing the sideline and all right, let's get up, let's spike it. They're just so good at it. The Panthers aren't there yet, but they're getting those reps in rapid succession. I think the last month of the season, meaning or I guess it's 5 weeks because you had a bye in there. The last 5 weeks of this season for the Panthers, meaning the 5 weeks that just finished, have been some of the most important games of what will hopefully be a long run by the current group, right? The Morgan Canales alignment, and I think some fans are like one more good game of Bryce away from buying a jersey. If they end up being around for a long time, I think they're going to look back and point to this month as when things started to come together. And it didn't look like they were going to come together up until this month. Yeah. But they're coming together in a big way.
And they got a tough one this coming weekend against the Eagles. Canales and Bryce Young and offensively, super tested.
Yep.
By the way, the Eagles, I'd see a note here from Brandon Lee Gouton on X. Vic Fangio's defense, who's the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, since their bye week in Week 5, have only allowed 13.6 offensive points per game.
We'll talk about this game a bunch more. Eagles, I saw, are 12.5-point favorites. That's a big
low, huh?
Spread.
That low, huh?
That's a, we talked about this going in the Chiefs game. That is the advantage you have is you have nothing to lose. You can lose by darn near 2 touchdowns, and everyone goes, that's what we expected. Meanwhile, if it's close at the end, house money.